I never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist.
Oh, good morning. No, I'm not advocating a beer at this hour of the morning. It's 5:45 when we broadcast this the first time, and of course, throughout the day, as you poke in, remember that's what time it is. So if you feel like a beer, not at this hour of the day. And actually, I couldn't find quickly a photograph of a glass half full, because I'm the sort of chap that always sees a glass half full. And I have to say, good morning, Keith Hayes with Mirador Television, and I would like to think that I can see the glass half full. But I'm having great difficulty with what's going on in the world at the moment, because it would seem that everything is either geared towards a huge establishment or not geared to anything at all, and is in complete and utter chaos. And that really worries me. And I suppose that my glass half full, you see, I've only taken a sip of it so far, so perhaps I'm seeing the glass 3/4 full. Yes. But he won't stay that way for very long. At least not at noon, it won't. But I would love to maintain my optimism that we're heading in the right direction. But what I find is that instead of democracy spreading, the concentration of power is becoming frightening. And the trouble is that once you get power concentrated, it's often in the hands of the wrong people. And that's how dictatorships get started. And I was sent, I actually picked up a little piece on one of the social media pieces, but it was sent to me, it arrived in my social media inbox because of specific people I know. And it was sent by a Russian friend who talked about his grandfather, who in the days of the Soviet Union was a chemist, and a very good chemist. In fact, he was a noted chemist. And he said that his grandfather was a dissident and felt that the Soviet Union needed reform. And he was not an activist in the sense that he marched in the streets with a poster on picket lines or whatever, but that he actually got involved. And then he suddenly found, no, he didn't go to prison. No, they didn't arrest him. What he suddenly found was that his work was starting to dry up, that he couldn't get the facilities from laboratories to carry on his research. In other words, he was reduced from the very bright and clever man that he was to more or less a common or garden chemist. My correspondent pointed out that this was quite often the way that the old Soviet Union used to deal with its dissidents. You didn't go to prison, you didn't end up on the Lubyanka or in Siberia. You actually ended up being a non-person. And he said, eventually, my grandfather decided that it was better that he was a better chemist and did his work rather than being a dissident. So then, of course, the argument is entered is, if you decide to follow that route, do you make a contribution to society of some substance, but you leave the system the way that it is? It's a difficult point. The only thing is, I would say that, that's creeping into this country, is at every level. People say what you don't like, and the bullying starts, the withdrawal starts. We're not going to support this, or we're not going to support that. Why don't you be a good boy and go back to what you do best? And I've never been. I mean, I'm the most respectable guy that you've ever come across in the main until the last couple of years, and I've become a real rebel. I have to admit that my generation don't totally understand computers and the role that they play. Not totally. All I know that is if I go into my bank now, I'm met by a charming lady who has got a title of supervisor and so on and so forth, and I discuss with her, which I could even 6 or 7 years ago. I discussed with her my needs, and what she does is she taps the computer, and it comes back and says, no, sorry, shake your hand, how very nice of you. Do come back, please bank with us. Yeah. Wait until I'm wealthy. That'll be a long time to come, but still. But, that the decision making is just taken out of local hands. So basically, there is somebody somewhere who sets up these computers, who sets a bunch of criteria. If you don't meet the criteria, tough. I don't care, no conscience. The people in the bank that you're sitting opposite to have no discretion. It's just crazy. And that's also true of our local council. That you actually go and you speak to somebody who's quite charming, quite delightful in the front desk, the front office, but they have no power. And once they do, they pass it up to somewhere. Well, at the moment, it gets lost in the system. I'm having what is becoming a fairly public fight with the council because I have now viewed and I've researched the cabinet system, which I think is iniquitous. If there's anything that's destroying democracy, it's that. And it was a local councillor that really turned me onto it, because I was just laughing because I thought it was rather ridiculous that we were calling things cabinet and and chair and so on. One inanimate object talking to the other. And it is almost that way, believe me. But I then discovered that cabinets were introduced by Tony Blair on the basis that, in 2000, on the basis that it would make everything more efficient. What it has done is it has eroded democracy. Our councillors have very little to say about what goes on. And that became obvious in the council meeting the other evening when two independents asked searching questions, and when they were voted down, the Muppets, up they sprang. You can almost see the council leader say, "Hup, hup, hup, hup," and then he got up and said how wonderful it was that he'd managed to calm things down and they didn't have debate anymore. He didn't quite say that. What he really said was the council was a bit rowdy before. Now, I'm so happy to say it's very, very sound and sensible. Well, we don't want a sound and sensible council. We want one that debates the issues and that our local elected representative can put our point of view and that it can be properly considered. There's none of that anymore. There are no points of view considered. And not only that, but they keep on saying how wonderful the executive is. I have now approached the council on several issues, and what I did was, my protest, if you like, and it's going to get me into trouble, of course, but what the hell, somebody's got to be a dissident. I don't want to be a chemist anymore. They pounce on me for not paying my council tax, and actually have the effrontery to send a letter that says, I refer to one of your points, right? The other 3 points we don't care about. They were really humane issues. They were issues about our society. We don't care about those. We're just going to address the issue of the council tax. So my answer is that hopefully, when it goes to court, is that a magistrate can make a judgment on it. What do you want to bet that the system manages not to let me have a voice? Because I'm sort of privileged, really, as a journalist. I can talk to people all over the world, but I'm also able to sit down at the same lunch table and talk to senior lawyers. And I have to say that they have some concern about some of the things that, okay, Parliament directed, but the way that the law has been affected. And I think it's these creeping things that we have to really worry about. Now, I just had a little thing to say that the broadcasts have been interrupted. That's happened before, and it hasn't been interrupted. But if it has, I'm sorry about that. But it does say that this is being recorded, so continue to be recorded. So if it carries on, at least we'll be able to post it a little later. Now, that rant has taken me to within 5 minutes of where I plan to break off. I keep on saying that this is only going to be 10 minutes, and then I get carried away. So just a couple of things, though. But I'm really in despair of what our central government is getting up to. I have never seen such a display of a lack of democratic thinking as that is happening in the Houses of Parliament at the moment. I mean, it is unsavoury, unseemly, but not only that. Who cares about whether you wear a tie? I mean, in other words, who cares whether they look bad or not? Because after all, I do support robust debate. The trouble is that everybody's dashing off doing their own thing, and that's fine. But consensus, and in the meantime, whether you like it or not, whether you're in or out or whatever, there was a referendum called in which the people said we want out of the EU. Now that's apparently our leaders say, oh, we don't have to worry about that. We can delay that while we get on with this unseemly row. Well, I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen of the Parliament, some of you aren't going to be back there with your jobs because the general feeling is, and I talk to a lot of people in the course of my day because I am a journalist and I get around, there are a lot of people that are getting very upset with the fact that you simply don't seem to be able to do your job while pocketing a lot of money and a lot of bonuses and so on and so forth, and some rather comfortable living. So enjoy it while you can, because I think some of you will not be back there enjoying it if you keep on the way you are. Ooh, good old Keith, have a go. But I'm reflecting what people are saying and thinking, and you're not, and you're supposed to. No, I'm not going to run for Parliament. I'm not going to be an MP. I wouldn't even run for a councillor. I wouldn't want to be a politician today. I think probably if there was a poll taken about the most despicable job that you could possibly get, it would be that in politics. But then it'll attract all sorts of people. There is... Lewis I must mention them because they really do a splendid job. I keep on mentioning them, and they really are helping with making sure that we've got a thriving local media. It's coming back. Okay, I'm the big mouth. I usually rant and rave, but I do look at the things that some local journalists are doing, even though it's not in a formal sense. But they've pointed out on their website this morning, and I suggest you take a look at it. Just simply tap in and look for Lewis EYE, and they've got a really good expose, if you like, on how our councils are not meeting their social responsibilities, and that's one of my fights with them. They have lost the sense of duty of care. They just dump it on somebody else, and their system is not geared to helping, so they make excuses. The only place that you can find that anybody says that we've got an efficient council that's doing what it's doing is at the council meeting, and that comes from the leader. Oh, no vested interest there then. Well, there we are. Remember, glass half full. Okay, I'm hoping that we will get some improvement, but in the meantime, what we need to do is to kick out cabinets, and perhaps what we can do is we've got an election coming up on May the 2nd, perhaps we could get a decent bunch of politicians who will hold the executive to account, and we can see a few tails flying through the door, and we get back to a good, sound, sensible local government, which we had a few years ago. Chief Executive John Crawford, excellent Chief Executive. We had a wonderful, wonderful community here, well run, and it did its job. There is no reason why we can't get back to that, but what we need is a robust political council, first of all. So ask your local councillor when you go to the polls and you vote is, are you prepared to support a change in the system? That's what it's all about. What I'm running is a campaign of the spirit of 1264, the date of the Battle of Lewes. They fought for democracy then. Surely the least we can do is fight for democracy now. Now that's as I see it. This is only an opinion. You may say, what a daft idiot. In fact, a lot of people do. Please do. But think about it. Think about it. Look at it, and then question your councillor as to what they do stand for. Because if it's just to be hard-working, it doesn't mean a damn thing when they actually get into the council chamber. That's it for this morning. Glass half full. There we are, right? We are roaring, as usual, but what we're saying is kick out cabinet. Not saying kick out people necessarily. Just it's an iniquitous system. Toodle pip.
I never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can